What if I told you that working harder might actually be slowing down your business growth? And I know that sounds completely backwards because most entrepreneurs have been taught that more hours equals more success. Work harder, stay later, push more, do more. But think about this for a second. Have you ever worked all day, crossed 10 things off your list, and still ended the day wondering, why does it still feel like nothing actually moved? You answered emails, responded to messages, took calls, posted content, and you stayed busy all day, and yet somehow your business still feels stuck in the same place. Not because you weren't productive, because you were productive possibly on the wrong things. See, recently I asked a business owner one simple question. If tomorrow you could only work 3 hours, what would you focus on? And she paused for a moment, not because she doesn't understand her business, but because she realized that she had become so busy maintaining the business, that she really stopped intentionally growing the business. You see the difference? Maintaining the business is different. There are different activities in maintaining the business than it is in growing the business. And she realized that most of her time was definitely just maintaining it. And that moment was very revealing. It revealed exactly why she felt overwhelmed and still felt like nothing was moving. It was almost like, she was running a hamster wheel, right? Doing the things, but getting nowhere. But so today I'm going to show you the 3-hour productivity rule, a simple shift that can completely change how you structure your day so that you create more clients, more revenue, and more business growth without working long hours. Hi, my name is Yvonne Bramble. I'm a business and revenue advisor and founder of Apex Business Advisory, a coaching and consulting business. And I help entrepreneurs and small business owners lead their business with confidence, clarity, and consistent revenue by mastering their strategy, structure, and systems. And if you've ever ended the day exhausted, but still question whether your business actually moved forward, this video is for you. One of the biggest misconceptions that entrepreneurs have about productivity is believing that being busy means that they're making progress. But actually, activity and growth are not the same thing. They're not. You see, many entrepreneurs spend their days constantly reacting, right? Responding to emails, solving problems, attending meetings, posting content, crossing things off the list. Just because the day feels full, they assume, progress is happening. I'm busy, right? But busy does not correlate to progress, okay? So, but then another month goes by and you take a look at your revenue and it looks the same, right? Growth actually feels inconsistent. Momentum really disappears. And they start asking themselves, okay, what am I missing? If I'm working so hard, if I'm so busy, then why am I not growing? Why am I'm not seeing this translate into, the numbers? And so I'll work with them, and then we'll see that there's an underlying issue. And the problem usually isn't discipline. It's not a lack of motivation. And it certainly isn't a lack of intelligence. Very intelligent, very motivated, right? Very driven and disciplined people. But the real problem is that many entrepreneurs spend their highest energy hours on activities that maintain the business instead of activities that grow the business. If there's one thing that I want you to take away from this conversation, from this video, is that there's a difference in those two, okay? Now, that leads me to the 3-hour productivity rule. This is where everything changes. You see, the 3-hour productivity rule is quite simple. It's about protecting 3 hours every day for activities that directly create future business growth. Not administration, not meetings, and not reacting, but actual growth. The bottom line, things that affect the bottom line. See, these become your highest value hours, your growth block. And inside these 3 hours, this time block, you focus only on activities that create future opportunities. For example, lead generation, sales conversations, partnerships, offer creation, marketing, follow-up, right? Creating systems and business development. See, these things help move the business forward. And I want you to ask yourself one question as you make an assessment. Just spend a few days really assessing your activities, being aware of what you're spending time on, and ask yourself, if I repeated this activity every day for the next 90 days, would my business grow? Now, if the answer is no, then it probably does not belong inside your most valuable hours, does it? See, 3 focused hours done consistently can outperform 10 distracted hours. Okay, so the entrepreneurs that are creating the fastest growth, usually they're not working longer. Why? Because they focus on the growth activities and they delegate the rest. They know what activities to keep and what activities to get support in. See, they're protecting what matters. They're protecting what matters. And I want to share with you what changed for one of my clients. See, one of my clients enrolled into my strategic leadership and business growth program, really feeling completely overwhelmed. She told me she felt busy every day, but couldn't explain why her business still felt unpredictable. She was working the long hours, showing up, trying hard, and doing everything she thought she was supposed to do. So I says, okay, that's fine. Let's take a look at your calendar. Okay, so we looked at her calendar, and what we discovered was quite revealing and surprised her. See, less than 10% of her week was focused on activities that directly created new business. Everything else was maintenance, operations, delivery, handling client requests, and administration. No wonder growth felt inconsistent. Okay, and I'm not saying that these things are not important. They absolutely are. But put it in a balance between all of this maintenance work and a lack of growth work. And then you see why the pipeline was very, very dry, right? And she wasn't growing at the scale that she wanted to, see? So we changed one thing. We protected 3 growth hours. 1 hour became marketing activities. And those were lead generation across her different marketing channels. There were different marketing channels that we did a deep dive in and we reviewed and identified the marketing channels that were unique and specific for her business, what her goals were for her business, what she enjoyed doing, right? So all of these factors came in to identifying what her marketing channels would be. And so she now focused on those, okay? And hour 2 became sales activities. So that included talking to prospective clients, following up with anyone that showed interest in her services, right? Checking her sales conversion rates, anything and everything that had to do with scales, brushing up on her sales skills. Very important, very, very important. Now, hour 3 became strategic planning. And guess what? Within weeks, she stopped feeling reactive. And within months, she became more confident. Her pipeline became more predictable. Nothing magical happened. She simply aligned her calendar with her goals. Okay? And so now that leads me to the identity shift. You see, the identity shift is where the real transformation happens. Because this isn't just a productivity strategy. It's more of a leadership strategy here. And at some point, every entrepreneur has to stop thinking like the person doing all the work and start thinking like the leader of the business. See, operators ask, what needs my attention? But leaders ask, what creates the greatest return? Operators react, leaders prioritize. Operators stay busy, leaders lead with momentum. Okay? When that shift happens, when you shift from operator to leader, the business starts feeling different. The business starts feeling different. In fact, in my business mastermind, it's a group advisory part of the Strategic Leadership and Business Growth Program. One of my clients shared all of these. It's a fun activity that the group does. We start with wins. And so we'll go around and people will share the wins in their business. And one of her wins was exactly that. She noticed that even her employees started showing up differently once she started showing up as a leader. Okay, she gave a more calm energy, more confident, and the employees were able to really pick up on that and step up because of it. So when that shift happens, business starts feeling different. Right? She was getting more wins. It was almost like she's in a winning streak right now. Winning streak, winning clients, prospective clients literally falling on her lap. It's phenomenal. And I told her, I said, that's because you're doing the work. You're not just doing the outer work, but you're doing the inner work. And that's the type of stuff that we do in the program. We do a lot of inner work, a lot of energetic work, so that we become aligned, okay? And the outcomes, what shows up externally, right, is just the icing on the cake because we've done the inner work, okay? And so absolutely, things are going to start feeling differently once you show up differently, like the leader of your business. You stop second guessing. You stop feeling scattered. You become intentional. You become clearer. You become calmer. And that's exactly the shift that happens with my clients. The transformation is amazing. What I see when they come in to the program, and as the months go by, you start seeing a different glow. And that's phenomenal. And I love my clients, my students in the program. I love you all. You guys are doing such a phenomenal job, such a great job. Well, growth happens because growth becomes planned and not accidental. And that's exactly why I created my Strategic Leadership and Business Growth Program. Because most entrepreneurs, they don't want just to look at another course. They want interaction. They want live group coaching. And that's what I offer you. Is in our sessions, they're live. We work together on real life scenarios that are happening real time in your business. And we work through them. Right? You don't need more information. You need clarity. You need structure. You need accountability. And that's what you get here is accountability in the group advisory. Now, inside of the program, we help entrepreneurs simplify strategy, identify the activities that create the highest return, build the systems that reduce the overwhelm, and strengthen the leadership habits required to grow sustainably. Okay? And the goal is simple, to help entrepreneurs stop feeling busy and start creating predictable growth, right? With ease, with grace, with flow, because business should create freedom, not constant pressure. That's not why you started the business. You started the business for more freedom, right? And so that's what you get. You're deserving of it. You just need the right system, structure, and strategy in place to support you. Okay, so if this is resonating with you, come join us. Click the link in the description box below to join me in the Strategic Leadership and Business Growth Program. Now, if this video resonated with you, I want you to answer this question in the comments. And the question is, if you only had 3 hours tomorrow to grow your business, what would you focus on? I genuinely love to hear what came up for you. And if you're ready to stop feeling busy and start creating more clarity, confidence, and consistent revenue, click the link again below and learn more about the Strategic Leadership and Business Growth Program. Now, before we go, there is something important that a lot of entrepreneurs miss. Knowing what to focus on is only half the problem. Because even when entrepreneurs know what matters, they still struggle to execute consistently. Their days become reactive, priorities compete, everything feels urgent again, right? And business starts feeling chaotic. And that's exactly why I created this video. The next one is called the Business Productivity Shift that ends the daily chaos. We want to get ahead of it. We want to be proactive. And in that video, I'm going to show you why your business feels chaotic, even when you're working hard. Okay? And the simple productivity shift that helps you feel more in control, more focused, and create momentum without adding more hours. Because productivity is not about doing more. It's not. It's about creating a business that finally feels easier to lead. Okay? So I'll see you in the next video. Oceans of love and light in service to others. And see you on the next video.